In this video today, we're going to look at solving more complex equations. Start with the first example here. We have fractions. The process works just the same as any other problem we're doing here, as far as getting numbers on one side and variables on the other. So I'm going to start by, in this case, subtracting 4 from both sides. And I'm going to rewrite the equation. That's always a good habit to be in. So I'm going to bring down my 1/2 x. Of course, this now becomes minus 7 because I've done negative 3 minus 4. On the right side, the 4 is gone because 4 minus 4 is 0, and I'm left with 3/2 x. Okay, at this stage, I have at least all my numbers on one side. I still have variables on both sides, so I'm going to have to move the fractions, and in this case, we're going to move 1/2 x from both sides. And so we're going to subtract 1/2 x. I'm going to do that to both sides, of course, and then we'll rewrite the equation. And we got lucky in this case. We have a common denominator. Of course, we have to have a common denominator to add or subtract fractions. So I'll rewrite the left side as minus 7. And on the right side, 3/2 minus 1/2 is 2/2, which gives you 1x. Now, just to indicate, just to kind of look at that a little more carefully, just to make sure we understand, we're doing 3/2 x minus 1/2 x. And of course, our common denominator here, that'll give us 2/2 x. And remember, 2/2 is the same as 1, so that's why we've indicated we have 1x equals negative 7. So our solution is x equals negative 7. Okay, our next example here, we have decimals to work with. So again, we're going to get our numbers on one side. In this case, I think it's easier to subtract our 6 from both sides. Although you could go either direction, you could subtract 8 from both sides. And I'll rewrite the equation. So 0.01x equals 0.015x, and we have plus 2 because 8 minus 6 is 2. Okay. Now that we have our numbers on one side, you notice we still have variables on both sides, and we have the variable x. So we're going to subtract. Our 0.015x from both sides. That's a decimal right there. Not a very pretty one, but it's decimal. 0.15x from this side. And over here, we're going to get negative 0.05x. And that's going to equal 2. Okay, at this stage, we still have x. We do have x by itself, but it's got a coefficient other than 1. So we're going to want to get rid of the negative 0.05. So just like a normal number, like if you had 2x equals 4, you would divide both sides by 2. We're going to do the same idea here, but we're dividing by negative 0.05. We're going to do that to both sides. Okay, and when we calculate that, we get x equals negative 40. Great, and that concludes our video on solving using decimals and fractions and equations.